So let's build one of the most advanced components that you can create in Flash Catalyst, the data list. On the surface, the data list doesn't look like it does that much, but I'm going to show you a finished example about how you can use a data list to create some really cool and interesting navigation components that you can use in your sites or applications. Let's take a look at a basic example here and go through the workflow of how to build a data list. Inside here, you'll see I've already brought in some objects from Illustrator. I've got some text, a graphic here, and I've got some text and a graphic here at the top. They're going to be the top of our data list. When you use a data list, you need to select the items that you want to repeat. In a data list, objects can be vertical, they can be horizontal, or you can also have them work in a tile formation. These two items are the pieces that are going to repeat in our particular data list. So let's select those two objects and then convert this into a data list. When you do this, you're going to have to go through a similar workflow of how you create a scroll bar or other advanced component and then define the specific parts of the component itself. In this case, we want to go into Edit Parts, and we need to select what is the actual item that is going to be repeated. In this case, it's this logo here and then the text Premiere Pro CS5. With these two selected, we want to convert these into a data list part. In this case, the repeated item. If we had other objects behind it, or a title, or other areas that are just visual treatments, we don't necessarily want to repeat those, but we want to repeat these two selected objects, which is why we're going to convert them here. Now with that converted into a repeated item, you'll see that the display will change. It's going to take that individual item and copy it 4 additional times. Let's open up the design time data, because this is when you're going to be using this particular panel in Flash Catalyst. Let's make that a little bit larger so we can get a better view of what's inside. So as you can see, it's taken that first object at the top and it's repeated it a number of 5 times. If I actually go into this, I can change the text. Let's go in here and change this to Flash Professional CS5. You'll see that the text changes over here in the actual display. The item on the right, in this case the column called Image 1, I can also change. I've already imported a graphic for the Flash Pro icon, so I can select this and change this to Flash Pro CS5. If you take a look at the artboard, you'll see that everything's clipped a little bit. That's because we've defined an automatic mask for this particular region. The data list mask is based on the initial object that we first created. In this case, as you can see, it's limited to the very edge of the 5 in CS5 for Premiere Pro. To make this a little bit wider, I can just simply click and drag this out. And you'll see that it will then show all the things that were hidden. If I want to modify any of the designs of these particular objects, I can double-click into the data list and then change the text or any of the objects inside of this using the design tools that are part of Catalyst, or also round trip with Illustrator and other tools. Let's go back out to the outside layer of the application. Let's take a look at the Interactions panel. For a data list, there are a number of things we can do in interactions. In this case, we can do on select, mouse down, mouse up, mouse roll out, or roll over. What's interesting with the data list, though, is we can do on select, and we can actually have it happen. We can actually do specific actions when a specific item is selected. So when I click that, you'll see that we have a new option down here that says, which item do I want to actually track? This is really great for when you want to create a navigation component where you want to do specific things on specific items in the data list. So let's actually display a finished version of one of these just to show all the things you can make with a data list. If you look here, we have a number of items here that represent these restaurants in a restaurant guide. This is actually a data list. In this case, it's orienting everything in a horizontal layout. If I click one of these, you'll see that it takes me to a different state of my application. In this case, for this particular restaurant. Another thing you can use a data list for is to create which is called a combo box. You can then use a data list to then repeat all those items and then change your navigation based on what you select. One other thing that we can do with the data list is modify some of the properties. The properties panel when you have a data list selected has all kinds of different options of how you can actually build your data list. If I double click into this, you'll see that the data list also has additional options inside the repeated item, where I can define all kinds of other attributes of our particular item here. In addition, we can also define if we want things to be in vertical, horizontal, or even a tile-based layout.